we go. Mahalo, everyone, for tuning in to our episode 16th, I believe, episode of Yuntaku Live.
We're on
Is it 17? I'm so sorry. I'm losing count already. Losing count.
Quick time flies.
See how quick time flies. But thank you, everyone, for your patience.
I hope everyone's checking their clocks because they may think that it's 7:05, but it's actually 7 o'clock.
Yeah. うちのタイムだよ。うちのタイム。大丈夫、大丈夫。Okay, well, thank you everyone so much for joining us. We've got a wonderful show for you today. We have Derek Fujio Sensei, and he's a super talented musician, and not just for Okinawan music, but for music in general. So very excited to have him here today. But first off, wanted to explain to everyone, we're used to having DJ on with us, and we just wanted to congratulate him and Lori.
Yeah, congratulations.
Yes. So
he's on Daddy version 2.
Yes. So this is his second child, first son. Thank you so much, Lori Jones, for letting us borrow DJ all the way up to the very end, right before. But we also want to congratulate DJ and his family.
And our borrowing privileges aren't over yet,
Yeah. Sorry, Lori, we're gonna borrow him for a while, but welcome to the world, Everett Hikaru Jones.
Yes.
Okay. So yes.
I just want to note, as we mentioned, that DJ's not here, but it's like, oh, where's DJ? So yes, he's very busy, but he was actually online helping us set up remotely.
Sorry, Lori.
And with us today, handling the gauntlet is Chris Iwamura, Rainbow Driving. So not only is Chris, contributed with a lot of equipment, today he's actually at the helm. He's got the bridge. So it's all his fault. Okay?
No, don't say that. My God.
It's amazing. Again, we had to swing through some tech issues right before we came on air, and he handled it like bada.
Like a champ. All right. Well, thank you so much, Chris, and all the other team back there. I know you guys are working super hard behind all of us. So just another reminder to get on our Facebook page and our YouTube page. Share a YouTube link with your friends and have them subscribe. Since last week, we got 100 more people. So definitely we're sending it out to a lot of the Okinawa Kenjinkai around the world, and asking them to join us for our virtual Okinawan festival coming up. So, get out there, tell your friends and family, but we're super excited about this. And as you see, we're pushing our limits. We're trying to, try new things and get better at this because we are definitely in a new era here. So,
speaking of that, there is a difference, or maybe Lynn, you can correct me if I'm wrong. There's a difference between Facebook and YouTube. So maybe if people have that option, they really should go to YouTube, I believe.
Yeah. So what we discovered is that Facebook kind of downsizes the video, and you might have a grainier experience on Facebook. So now we're recommending that everyone, the YouTube video that we're watching, it actually seems to be a lot clearer. So we're recommending, especially for our virtual Okinawan festival coming up, that everyone go to YouTube, and we'll have it embedded into our okinawanfestival.com website too. So you'll be seeing the YouTube version there as well, but learning lots of new things. And the software, the world is literally learning with us, right? And so the software is making updates like every week with us. And so we're super excited. I learned the difference between 720 and 1080 recently.
Those are radio stations, aren't they?
So apparently before we were in 720, but now our platform is able to do this in 1080. So yes.
Also, our IQ is 1080. But the other thing we want to point out is that as we've been moving forward, and this is all again moving towards virtual Okinawa Festival, which is coming up real soon now, like 3 weeks out.
September 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th. So Labor Day weekend. Save the date. We're putting together. It's like basically it's a big Yuntaku Live is what it's gonna be. It's like we're gonna go for about 3 hours each day on September 5th and 6th. We got a lot of videos that we're queuing up for everything, a lot of exciting content to share with everyone, performances, some special guest appearances from Okinawa. and even Hawaii, we have our local Hawaii musicians joining us as well. So lots of exciting stuff to go on. So
Oh my
make sure
God,
you mark your calendars.
it's gonna be a whole new experience, but it's gonna be as exciting as all our Okinawa festivals are. Of course, you don't have the opportunity to go to the third floor, but you're gonna see a lot of it through the different features during the virtual Okinawa festival. So while you can't walk there, we'll take you there. We'll take you
Yep.
to a cooking demonstration. We'll take you to online. Well, you can take yourself to the online marketing. So we
Yep.
got a lot of interesting things that we're going to be trying. We talk about all this tech, and I just got off. The general counsel, consul general of Japan
Yeah.
here in Hawaii just left, or is going to leave actually, and so they
Mhm.
had a farewell party on Zoom. And even for them, there were all these issues with lag and syncing up, and so everybody's dealing with this. And I think we've really been trying to keep ahead of the game with DJ and Chris helping out. And
Yep.
there's actually an army of people back here that's learning how to move forward and help us in this effort, especially leading up to a virtual Okinawa festival.
All right. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. Just a reminder, the reason why we're doing this live TV show, we started in the first days is due to the pandemic that we're in. So everyone, our numbers have been going up. I think today was a little bit less, maybe we're trending down, hopefully now, but the numbers are up. So make sure you continue to wear your masks out in public, stay safe, keep social distancing, and we'll get through this.
Yes. Again, as I mentioned last week, Okinawa Center is still closed. We're going to keep it safe. But the volunteers and the employees that you met on the show last week,
Mhm.
they were filmed while they're here, and these employees are on furlough, but they still
Mhm.
come in. So again, it just really points to the chimikukuru that we have and the love for the Okinawan community, as for well as the Hawaii Okinawa Center. So I mean, a big ipenihe debiru to all our employees who, even though on furlough, have been coming into the office and working. So
Right.
again, when you see them, uh, please help me in wishing them a big mahalo and ipenihe debiru.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone. Just a reminder that we are excited about our special guest today. So today we're gonna have Derek Fujio, and he has. Hey, Derek! There you go. I'm super excited about this, Derek, because it's one of those things where been in the performing arts world together since you were like 3 years old, but I've never actually sit down and had a chance to talk to you while we're not performing, right? And so I'm actually really excited about today, so because I really want everyone to know how incredibly talented you are. Okay, let's see.
He is mega uber talented.
All right, so
You guys
Derek,
are gonna find out today.
tell us a little bit about your story, and maybe let's start from the beginning. How did you get passionate about Okinawan culture and arts?
Yeah. Well, hi, Sai. Thank you
Hey.
for having me. Like you said, I'm really honored to be here, and it's cool to be here for the first time. Um, and I got a chance to kind of think about my own history and my story and my journey.
Mhm.
You said it spans a long time. I started when I was 2, maybe a little bit younger than that, but um, so that's most of my life. But it started out when I was too young to remember. So I'll try to put it together as best as I can. Found a bunch of pictures that kind of tell the story along the way.
This is the
So
Derek I remember. Sorry.
apparently I started out 1 or 2 years old. My grandma was my primary caregiver. So at the time, while my mom then was working, she would take me to what she was doing in her retirement. She was going to the Kilauea Rec Center
Mm-hmm.
uh, doing Okinawan dance with Masako Tome Sensei.
Yep.
So it was all these retired ladies, and she would just take me. I'd sit in the corner. Eventually, I'd get fans, and I'd try to do odori with them. But my favorite part of the time was at the end when Tome Sensei would say, "Come, come, come," and she'd reach into her purse and bust out the candy.
Candy.
And that made sure I came back every week. And so after about a year doing that, then my family took me to actually take odori.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure about the connection or the reason why, but for some reason we ended up with Kikuo Kaneshiro Sensei
Mm-hmm.
out in Kalihi.
Yeah.
And the picture you see here, I think for some reason, like super recently, I was about 4 at the time, and there was a celebration at Bishop Museum, and I hadn't been dancing for that long, and some reason they let me dress up and go on stage with all the
Because
older
you were
kids.
so adorable.
But I mean, back then it worked out in my favor that I was still cute, so it worked out. But in looking at my time again with Kikuo Kaneshiro Sensei, she was the sweetest lady.
Mm.
She was a great sensei. She was a beautiful dancer.
Mm-hmm.
She was really well respected. Apparently, whenever the Iemoto or the Dai Sensei came from Okinawa, they would come to Kalihi to her tiny little house in Aisatsu with her. But back at the time, she was just the sweet old lady that taught us odori.
Yep.
And today, looking at all the performing arts, they're really good. They're really talented. They're really driven to
Mm-hmm.
perfection and to being excellent at their craft. And not to say it wasn't like that for us, but we would go every single week. We'd do our dances at the end. We would go Aisatsu Sensei. If we were dancing Tanchame, she had the basket. She put it down. We
Mm-hmm.
would throw in our $3 for the week. And then afterwards, we would go Kenny's Burger House, and she would buy us one $2 burger.
Best
I mean,
$3
looking back,
ever spent, right?
yeah,
That's
looking back,
hilarious.
I don't know how she did it, but it was just so sweet and kind of her, and
Mhm.
that was the foundation for kind of my love of Okinawan performing arts and all of that. And so that first group of dancers, I think if Chris can go to the next photo, we
Oh,
started
wow.
at 2 or 3, and that was us, at the age of 18, 19.
Mhm.
And most of us, a
Oh,
lot
wow.
of it, our parents take you there and you do it when you're kids, and then high school happens and
Mhm.
extracurriculars and friends and dates and whatnot, and then the Okinawan culture kind of gets pushed to the side. But at the end of our time in high school, even though we were kind of waning, Kaneshiro Sensei was kind of getting older, and was starting to have early stages of Alzheimer's, so she couldn't keep anymore. The last 2 students were still dancing. So one of our Canadian moms got us all together for the last semester to come back and dance with that group.
Oh, okay, there you go. Yeah, sorry, your mic was a little bit. Oh, wow. Yeah, these are great.
And
For those of
then
you guys who don't know, Derek and I are about the same age, so like we probably have the same parallel lives, right? Oh, this is so cute. I remember a lot of the, that crew you had, that picture you just had of all of you guys from Kaneshiro Sensei's time. That's just great memories, I'm sure. Yeah.
yeah, and I remember like then from way back when doing primarily karate. Yeah, that was kind of your thing.
That was a little bit later, yeah. But like I definitely, even while doing odori, gravitated more toward the karate stuff. So
Yeah, and kind of back then we all knew of each other, but it was a little more distinct, and it was a little more.
yep.
The schools kept to themselves a little bit more than nowadays.
Yeah, and I think that's why. So right before we got on the show, I told people I was super excited to like interview Derek because I know about all of your accomplishments, right? But like, I just want it's exciting for us to kind of share it with the rest of the world. Okay, so your Okinawan
Derek,
dance is just one
Derek, I
small.
wanted to ask you.
Yeah.
I think you mentioned before that you started at such a young age.
Yeah.
I mean, how did you feel? I mean, you just wanted to dance with old people. I mean, you were dancing with people your age, right?
No, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, and that comes back to the part of the interview that it spans so much of my life, but half of it I don't remember what I was doing or what I was thinking. When you're a kid, you want to be with your grandparents, you want to be with your parents. So I just kind of went with the flow, and whether or not it stuck or it was something that ingrained in me, I think it sunk into the heart, the music and the sound and the spirit of that, because I guess it stuck with me till today. So that
So it was destiny.
It's
I
funny.
guess
Yeah.
At any time in your years, did you feel like, man, I wanna play grunge music, I wanna play rock and roll, or was it just this love for classical music and also Okinawa music?
it's kind of funny that you say that because thinking about what I was going to say today, my life is kind of weaved around all these sorts of things. And one of the things that people know me for or know about me is that I never really stuck with one group super hardcore. John will know that, Lynn will know that, DJ for sure will know that. I come in young Okinawans, I go play with Norman, I go play with Sanda,
Yeah.
I do rock band stuff, I teach
You do.
orchestra. I never really got stuck into one thing, but looking back for today's presentation of today's talk, everything kind of overlapped and connected, and it's this long string from person to person of people that kind of impacted my life, and kind of Forrest Gump, yeah, where you just have to be in the right place at the right time while these crazy big things are happening around you, or these amazing leaders or mentors or teachers come into your life. And for me, I was just lucky to be around those things at the right time. And as a
Forrest
young
Gump. That's a great analogy.
So of course, my next question is then, when did I come into your life? No, just joking. But going back and like you mentioning, you remember all these great senseis and senpais and even colleagues. Uh, what do you take from it in terms of what you feel is your mission going forward in music?
Tough one.
Yeah, and those thoughts about senpai and those mentors are something that, listening to the Yuntaku every week and hearing everyone else talk about it too. Um, my mission, I think, is to take what I've learned and share it with as many people as possible in as many classes or locations or styles or venues as possible. And kind of my specialty being with one foot in Western music and, Department of Education and middle school, and my other foot being in this Okinawan community, being a sensei, I guess, being the president of Koyo is not something I thought I would be even 5 years ago, or much less, 20 years ago. But just being able to share those things from the earliest times to now, and, being a yonsei, a lot of the people my age just barely kind of got to interact with people like, Kikoe Sensei,
Barely.
Kyoshiki,
Yeah.
barely.
Kiyoshi. Mm.
But at least, we have those memories with them.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
the next generation stepping up, like the Hoka kids or the
Mm-hmm.
Urizumi kids, or the Asa kids,
Mm-hmm.
Ose, they never got the chance to meet these people, and get scoldings and learn lessons the hard way, like we did. So the best we can do, is try to pass on that wisdom, pass on the style, um, and pass on the knowledge. Hopefully not as scary and imposing as those guys were, but having that experience, I think, is what my generation kind of needs to do.
And I think for a lot of us, I mean, I know I'm a lot older than you are, but a lot of us, like you're saying, you're thinking about the Kyoshi Kinjos and all the other senses, but we're thinking about when we were 20 years ago, and maybe they were, in their 50s and they seem old as dirt. But now we're getting into the 40s and 50s and still thinking that these senpais are out there, forgetting that really you're stepping into their shoes now and you're serving that role.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
how much of that goes into some of the song selections you're picking for tonight?
Oh man, all the way. And after I did Odori, really the next thing that I stepped into was Sanshin. And a lot of people, I don't know, some people know me for my Sanshin. A lot of people in certain circles nowadays kind of
Mm-hmm.
don't know that I play Sanshin because
Mm-hmm.
kind of
But you
Koto
play
took
everything else.
band and all that took over. But from the age of 5, I was taking Sanshin from Norman Kaneshiro Sensei now, but at the time, I think he was 16. This young kid from Roosevelt High School in his house dojo, 5-year-old me, in these pictures. I had buzz cut, dorky glasses, shy kid, tiny, tiny, tiny.
So you're in the center of that photo next to the girl in the light colored kimono.
Yeah, right between the pink and the blues, that is me. And that's that's an older picture. That I was about 12. So that picture was in Kaneshiro's recital.
Mm.
That's kind of the moment that Koto entered my life. So I guess to continue the story, I was studying
Yeah.
with Norman because I was taking Odori from Kaneshiro Sensei.
And then
And at the time, around the 1990, the 90th anniversary, Eric Wada came in to Kaneshiro Studio to choreograph Wadabi Uta. And looking, I was able to find the program. So we did Kajimaya and some other kids' songs at Blaisdell Arena. So we would practice for weeks, and we this giant conga line of all these Okinawan kids. And then Eric asked me if I wanted to go deeper into Okinawan culture. And he gave me the choice. He's like, do you want to study taiko, sanshin? And I guess I said sanshin. I don't remember, but he hooked me up with his younger friend, Norman Kaneshiro, and who was a student of Seisho Sensei at the time. And we kind of started there. And then come to Jane's recital in 1998. I was about 12. And all the girls in front, like Lynn said, that was my Odori squad. All the girls in Kaneshiro studio were taking koto from Jane at the time. And kind of like I said, how it was, a lot of the Nakasone Odori dancers took koto from Bani Sensei, and there were these kind of connections. So that was our flow. So practicing for the recital for a year, I would take my sanshin to accompany the girls, and I would be hearing the koto all the time. So after half a year, Jane asked me, "Oh, do you want to learn koto?" So I was like, "Okay." And that started the rest of my life with koto. And for some reason, the biggest, most humbug instrument to carry and set up and take anywhere ended up being the thing that I wanted to do.
Yeah.
So that's more.
We'll get into Derek and his teaching at Kaimuki Middle, but just thank you so much. I mean, it's kind of like the journey to get you to koto, which is actually what we're going to feature next, right? Our first for your first song, because you're currently the president, right? Koyo Kai, or what we short Koyo Kai, we call it. So, can you tell us a little bit about that journey? When did you become president? Now that was like a couple years ago.
Oh, that's a surprise. So,
yeah.
All the performing arts groups have been getting older, and the membership has been getting older. So our generation has started to step up. As we were preparing for the anniversary recital about 4 years ago in 2016, Sarah Nakatsu and I had put in for our Shihang certificate. We sent our tests in, and it just so happened to coincide with the year of the recital. So when we had the recital over here at the Kaikang, all of the Hombu Sensei and the president of Koyo Kai Hombu came over, and we had the concert. And so we got our Shihang certificates at that time. And that was kind of really special. And then shortly thereafter, we were asked to take the reins of the organization as president and vice president.
Surprise!
And for me, like, it's still super scary. I never really studied Okinawa for any appreciable amount of time. My family isn't super steeped in the language. Third generation, fourth generation household, we spoke English for sure. My grandma even maybe sometimes Jap English, but not really, Hogan or anything like that. So my Japanese knowledge came the hard way. I took class in high school and I took class in college and forgot it over the years. So dealing with that and kind of having to learn the Okinawa Japanese side of it was rough. So we really depend on the kaishu and the sensei to help us out. And Sarah's been so great through all of this. She studied at Gedai through the Kempi program. She's very knowledgeable. Her Japanese is better than mine. She puts up with my procrastination.
Sarah's watching too. She's her emoji like
No, that's true. Not true procrastination.
Yeah, look at today.
Oh, funny.
So together, we got through it. We kind of depend on each other, but we try to lead the organization. like I said, the schools used to be, much more separate when they were stronger and had, stronger personality. You wouldn't mix with the other schools. You wouldn't talk. You'd be respectful, but you're a little bit cautious around, the public image of what you represent. But I think nowadays all the clubs are finding that to build each other up, to have this sense of
Yeah.
it's a lot more helpful for us to come together. So the Koyokai, all of the schools have been coming together before coronavirus. We used to get together once a month and practice together. We'd share ideas. If there's something we don't know, we ask all the sensei that are there. And it was really helpful way to build community and learn from each other. And I know that me and Sarah lead the class, but we're really helping each other through community.
So I know Kaja is normally, it's traditionally the opening song and entrance song. But did you have a special reason for starting with that song tonight?
I know how to play it. No,
That's good. That's important.
It's a special song. It dates back to the Kingdom period. It's part of the Gujinfu. So it was one of the 5 songs they would play, especially for the king, in front of the king. When the Chinese ambassadors would come to install a new king, when they had to entertain someone, Hai Makamak, something to show off the quality of the Okinawan culture, they would play this song. And if you take koto or you take sanshin, it's probably one of the first songs you have to learn. It's kind of the song you have to know if you study Okinawan music. If you go to a concert, it's probably the first thing you hear.
Yep.
It's one of the earlier songs I learned how to dance. It was the first song I learned how to play sanshin. It was maybe the 3rd song I learned how to play on koto. And if you're not a viewer of Yuntaku, go in the archives, go watch Masandu Sensei's lecture. He has one good talk about the meaning of the song, about the happiness and joy and other things that it connotes. But I just wanted to play it because it's an important song, and unless you go to a koto recital, you probably don't just hear it by itself with a koto.
That's true. That's really true. You don't usually hear the koto by itself being featured. It's usually it's a rich sound, so it fills the other areas. But thank you so much. So we're excited to have you play Kaja defu. I think you have some setup you have to do, yeah? So we'll let you do that. So yeah, if you guys haven't taught, I don't know, we'll get into this later, but Derek went to Yale too. Derek went from mid-pack, Hawaii's kid, he went to Yale. So he has literally studied an entire range of music, and we're so lucky to have him here in our Okinawan community. I think it's wonderful for us to be able to have such and talent, and literally I've known him since he was probably 3 years old. And I remember him as the kid, the tanchame
You were
kid.
4 years old? What?
I was probably 4 or 5, right? Yeah, exactly. So it's exciting to I didn't know. There's a lot I don't know about him, even though he's somebody I've seen at recitals and we've seen each other, and then so on top of that, while he's getting set up, he plays like he said, orchestra and Western music. So my sister does a lot of musicals, right? Derek is always there in the orchestra pit, and he literally has 5 instruments with him, because he's playing all these different instruments for musicals, live performances at theater, and just a lot of people in the local theater scene know him because of that. So just a side note.
Again, Yuntaku, like we always say, Yuntaku Live allows us to feature these artists, these individuals, people they see on the stage or even walking on the street or at an event and not knowing more. But tonight, like we mentioned just a little while ago, to hear the koto by itself
Is
and
there actually, yes.
sung solo koto, and just his voice is going to be a treat that most people don't get to hear. So we hope that you truly enjoyed this.
Okay. So I know he's still getting set up, but like I said, for those of you, unless you've been to a koto recital, oh, there he is. Okay. How you doing? You gonna do a quick test? Test.
Good.
Try again. Okay. Okay. So let us know when you're Kaja defu.
Kiyo no na sa
Hey, there you go. Mahalo. Thank you so much. Um, I'm I didn't realize you were gonna sing too.
No, it was awesome.
Yeah.
You know, again, just the sound of the koto by itself. I know for some of our listeners, we lost some of the sound. Sometimes our mic went out. Anyway, but just hearing right here live in Nachaya, hearing the koto, it's a whole different feeling from hearing the sanshin. And
Mhm.
again, I can see where Derek's stories about reaching into these instruments and what it does for him spiritually. I think is really important for people to learn. So we're
So
gonna bring Derek back.
Yep, he's
in a
back.
little while. We're gonna make sure we switch his mics over back to his interview mic.
Oh, thank you. I just wanted to mention, somebody asked me about my orchids, and I always have a nice, orchid. Thank you for noticing. Ever since our first Yuntaku live, I mean, I had like a messy background with everything, and my fridge over here, and we're just trying to up our game. So thank you very much to Mark for getting me my orchid. And we have a nice and gives me a nice background and
We
everything.
got Derek back.
Okay.
We have
I really
Jacob
want to
here
get into Derek.
running all the
There you go.
setup here. He's working very hard, keeping things in order and out of order. No, good job,
So
Jacob.
Derek, we want to go into like the next thing.
Again,
Yeah.
thank you, Derek, for that. That was wonderful hearing about that. Now we're gonna learn a lot more. Maybe go dive a little more into all that musical education that you went through.
Okay. So
Let's see. Yeah.
I guess around that time, I started taking koto, but I also started. I guess it's not related, but we can talk about the picture now.
Hang on. Your mic is a
This
little
is when I
soft.
received my
There we
Kyoshi
go.
Menkyo, my first introductory certificate. And you see Jane Kaneshiro Sensei with the whole Sozankai. And then the
Hang
next
on.
picture, I think, was my family at the same time. Sorry, can we
Hang on. Your voice is a little soft. Hang on. Can we get his mic up a little bit higher? Okay. What year is this photo? Oh, there we go.
My mom and her sister, my auntie, who took me around to all the things. So while that was happening on the Okinawan side of things, I started school at Mid-Pacific Institute. And that was kind of a surprise, not a surprise to me, but it was unexpected. Fully expected to go to Carnegie Middle School because that's the district I was in. And if I'd done that, I'd planned on joining orchestra and all these sorts of things. And my life kind of took a different path when I went to mid-practice orchestra. So I started joining band. I picked up the oboe. I don't know why. It was an interesting instrument. It was an interesting. I really got into band. Not long after that, I started taking oboe lessons because it's hard to get good if you don't do that. In my third year, I got bored with that, so I took saxophone lessons so I could join jazz band. And I got bored with that, so a year after that, I got my grades off so I could finally play brass. I got really excited, so I took my uncle's trumpet, and then I joined not really the marching band because mid-pack guys, they don't really march, and they don't really football either. That's neither here nor there. But we would go to the football games and play for them. So I got to play pep band music, and for all of that time, I went through the whole process of going to playing solo and ensemble, doing select band, doing jazz band, all those sorts of things.
Every band you could possibly be in.
And that's kind of the path that my life started to take. And it really started to take over my life too. I'll talk about that, I guess, later on in terms of the Okinawan community and how they kind of reacted to that. But every weekend, all the time started to monopolize my time. Whereas before this, growing up, I was doing a lot of odori, a lot of sanshin. We were together with Norman and Eric doing namikaji stuff. So
namikaji,
at least to a certain age, almost every weekend for sure, we would be doing some shinenkai or at someone's wedding or some party or something. And we just didn't really have the time for that anymore. And so that kind of goes into the phases of life. And I think Okinawan music and Okinawan performing arts kind of move in phases. And so I kind of moved out of that phase in my life, as a lot of people do when they go through high school. They find some other stuff. And so that got to be less of a priority around those years.
Okay.
And then how did Yale come about? I mean, that what an
Yeah, yeah.
accomplishment.
Tell us about you.
Yeah, same thing with my Forrest Gump story. I don't know.
Your Forrest Gump story and my Forrest Gump story is so different, but go ahead.
It's an interesting story. No, Yale, I don't really know. I had good grades in high school and I wanted to challenge myself. And in my mind, I sent my application, my Common App to Yale and my UH Manoa application, and they kind of had the same weight for some reason in my mind. I knew what I wanted to do. I wanted to study some kind of music. I wanted to study some sort of science or computer stuff, and Yale was a good fit. But I didn't really know much. I never visited campus, but I applied and I got
Never
in.
have I. So
You know, when they say yes, you don't say no.
yeah, when Yale says yes, you don't say no. Yeah.
Was it everything you thought it would be and more?
It was exactly the kind of thing that I needed. It was kind of the exact kind of thing that I talked about with all my sensei. My sensei were never the strictest. My teachers were never the most structured. But because of that opportunity, they let me explore lots of things. Even like Lynn was saying, I play all these instruments. If my band director was strict and said, "Hey, don't play all those instruments," then I never would have learned. And if Yale was less liberal and less wide ranging and more focused, then I don't think I would have been able to get as much out of it.
And you graduated magna cum laude. I mean, you made the most out of your Yale experience.
Yeah, I have a certificate that says that. It hangs in.
I don't.
It hangs in the off. It hangs on the wall of my DOE classroom.
Yeah.
No, I mean that, I mean, I know you're gonna always say that, but really, that's an accomplishment, truly an amazing accomplishment. So
Making us
congratulations for that,
Mhm.
and really just a bump on your road to your evolution as a musician and a teacher. So,
Cool.
what um, are some of the highlights with going from Yale to your involvement with schools? Because you studied music education with an intent to teach.
Mhm. So that journey, it is kind of exceptional. I mean, even I recognize that, but just living there and being there, we kind of know Yale from, if you're a certain generation, you know it from Gilmore Girls, or if you're a certain generation, you'll know it from, pop culture, Skull and Bones, that kind of stuff. But having gotten to there, like I distinctly remember times usually when it was weather related, like when it's snowing or something, and I was just walking down a road and I just had to stop and be like, what am I doing here? How did I get here? There are so many amazing experiences, not just being at the school, but being where I was. In my time at school, it was super easy to travel to New York City. You would buy like a $25 ticket and hop on the train, and 2 hours later you'd be in Midtown Manhattan.
Yeah.
And if you've never been there, I love Hawaii and I love Kaimuki Town, but I love living here. But if I had to get stuff done, there's nothing to living in New York City or metropolitan Tokyo. When I go to those places, I always get the sense I know if I need something, I can go. I know where to go. If I need to buy something, I know where to go, and I can get the highest quality, best in the world. So being up in Connecticut and New York, I got to go to Carnegie Hall to watch some stuff, walking through Central Park, just going to Broadway, walking down the streets, seeing all these delis, seeing all the best delis, seeing the best Italian restaurants, seeing the best ramen shops, seeing the best music stores, because that's how it is. That was really good. Being at Yale, a lot of my music classmates, uh, like it's like going private school. Big fish, small pond. Then you have a huge pond. Whatever my classmates did, whether they became conductors or opera singers, the Yale program was not very big. Even though people think of Yale as a big name school, a lot of the professional schools are big, the law school, the med school. But there were only about 4,000 or 5,000 undergraduates, and even fewer music majors and even fewer music education majors. So my class of music majors, there are maybe about 10 or 15 of us.
Wow, that's really small.
So we were really close and we studied a lot, but those guys are, one of them was like the associate conductor of the Philly Orchestra. One of them has 2 Grammys for classical opera. So
Wow.
just being in a like lecture hall and like everyone is struggling to remember something, we're cramming, and those people, you know, are running the world now. Really, they're running the world. And the people that I happen to dorm with, you know, that are not music majors, they're going on to be, you know, local politicians, lawyers, doctors. I would.
Well, we are super happy to have you here. Trust me, like,
yeah. And Lynn, I know like you're on that same level of that kind of, you know, hip, young, trendy go-getter, changing the world. When I see people I know on like the 30 under 30 kind lists, it just kind of reinforces that I blended in pretty okay with all these amazing people.
Don't worry, it's 40 under 40, but that's okay.
To it all, you kept your passion for koto, right? I mean, like you said, you like to change and drop in and out of things when you felt the urge, but you kept that love for koto. And so, can you talk about the next song that you want to play?
Yeah. So I moved around quite a bit. I did a lot of things, but oddly enough, koto is the thing that never completely kind of disappeared, even though, you know, I did take long breaks, and when I was in college I wasn't here for long periods of time. But there's no deep story. I just did a talk with Norman and Ukanchin Kabudang last weekend, and, you know, 2 long hours of boring stuff about koto, and I just like the song Karaya. There's nothing deep. It's a beautiful song. It talks about, you know, the Mid-Autumn Festival and moon viewing. It's a beautiful odori as well, but I just think it lays really well on the koto, and it's a beautiful song. So in honor of, I guess, my getting more serious about koto through high school and college till now, I wanted to play Karaya.
Okay. Let's let the audience hear Karaya. As they're getting ready, I wanted to point out, you know, I think some of the comments that came through, Linda Kamihara, one of our most loyal viewers, mentioned that, you know, Derek is so humble. And I can say that over the years, that is so true. You know, you wouldn't think that he's a master of 109 instruments. And again, never talks down to anyone with regard to all of his musical talent and knowledge. And you must have had the same experience, Lynn.
Yeah, I mean, it was only very recently. I've known him for a long time. I didn't know he went to Yale. Like, I mean, it's just insane to me, and that just goes to show, you know, like how incredibly lucky we are to have such a diverse community within our Okinawan community, and it's just exciting to. But you know what grounds a lot of us is our Okinawan heritage and our Okinawan roots, and I'm really happy that, you know, even though we have similar, you know, a lot of us have that similar experience when we go and we explore the world and we experience new things, but what pulls us back, right, and keeps us grounded is our Okinawan heritage. And I think it's wonderful to hear when somebody, you know, also has the same type of experience.
All right, let's bring Derek back. I think they're about ready, and he's gonna let all of us enjoy Karaya.
Very good. Thanks, Derek. John. Wow, that was beautiful. I'm so excited that we had. Oh, that's a beautiful song, and like Jun Sensei was saying, it is also a beautiful dance. And so, thank you so much, Derek. Okay, that is amazing. Okay, so many of you guys know that he's, like we said, he does so much more than just the koto. So we're excited to bring him. We're gonna have him do a different instrument. Yeah, we're gonna have him play something else because he really. I mean, I actually want to ask him how many instruments he plays when he comes back on here, because I bet you, if you count all the Western instruments and everything together, I bet you he doesn't know. I bet you he has to start count.
If we wanted to have him play all the instruments he could play, it
Well,
would be a 4-hour special.
Exactly. It would take a 4-hour show. So I'm trying to think, and I have a list here just while he gets there. So as I was saying, not only is he versed clearly in Okinawan music, but he's been, he plays piccolo, flute, clarinet, bass clarinet, English horn, oboe, tenor saxophone. I'm just looking at a list of all the different alto saxophone, soprano saxophone, French horn. That's a lot. Sorry, Derek. So how many instruments? I mean, thank you again. Sorry for, of course, we in the Okinawan community, we know you for koto and dance and stuff. But I was just kind of going through this list of instruments and stuff that you play. And do you know right off the top of your head, how many instruments do you actually play?
I don't.
See, I knew it.
That was the centerpiece of my grad party. Like, write down as many instruments as you can think that Derek plays, and the closest person gets it. And at the end of high school, I think it was around 30.
Wow.
30?
So it's
Yeah,
probably,
I believe.
it's probably more than that by now.
Yeah.
30.
So-
Well, I don't know if I have 30 pairs of socks, and you can play
30
play 30 instruments at least. Wow.
So tell us a little bit about, after we already kind of got into your college years. I really, really appreciate that, because that's something like, again, I didn't even know that you went to Yale until like we had gone through this talking about Yuntaku, and I was like, what? I know you as a Kaimuki middle school teacher. So tell us about the work you do there. And, I know it's a huge passion of yours, and you've been able to kind of meld two worlds sometimes, right? With your Okinawan music and bringing it in to that, your musical education career.
Yeah, so I went through the whole
Yeah.
Western music thing. I went to college to study music. I was playing oboe mostly. And all the other stuff was kind of for fun. The woodwind stuff actually ends up making me money because I'm good enough to get paid to do it. So I play a lot of instruments, but really, like, the woodwind stuff is what got me, the jobs in the theaters, and got me playing part-time or substitute with the Royal Hawaiian Band.
Right.
And that was really kind of cool and really kind of lucky. Like I said, the Forrest Gump thing. As a kid, I would always look up to certain people, and then somehow, one foot after another, years later, I would end up being in that kind of situation. So like when I was a kid, I would look up to the odori people, and then one day I'm dancing odori. And then as a kid, I would look at the jikata people, and then one day I'm in the jikata. And then my family would take us to the old otera and kapahulu for bon dance. And I know Masandu talked about it too, but back then it was probably Sanda, his sensei Masatara Higa, maybe, and Glenn Mihira. Yeah. And I, for some reason, I remember Glenn, and I ended up, meeting him later on, but just the mustache, and he had such a distinct look, and he would take his sanshin and he'd like lumber up the yagura, and I just remember those guys playing for us. And then, one day I'm playing bon dance jikata, and then I would look up to the Royal Hawaiian Band because, they're a professional band.
Yeah.
And then, one day after college, I'm back in Hawaii playing in the Royal Hawaiian Band at the Okinawan Festival.
I remember that.
Yep.
Yeah,
That was
that's
back
right.
when Mike Nakasone was bandmaster.
Right.
So
Right.
everything was big deal Okinawan stuff those
Mhm.
years, and that was a super surreal moment for me.
Mm.
I'm in the Royal Hawaiian Band playing at the playing Okinawan Western music at the Okinawan Festival, and kind of the sanshin stuff too. Through the years, like I said, I kind of drifted away from it, but
Mhm.
at the end of high school, I got back into sanshin through Norm and them with Kwanshin Kabudang,
Mhm.
mainly because we started playing bon dances. Right
Mm.
around the end of high school, we started doing the Pacific Palisades bon dance and then Mililani, and eventually we ended up getting together with young Okinawans and joining in with them. But at the time, bon dance was all the rage, and even my mid-pack friends, we would just go bon dance all summer, every weekend. We would go
I
just to
know.
out. So that was kind of a big thing in my life, and through that, I got back into sanshin, recreationally, not that it was anything professional. And I'm not gonna get my kyoshi or anything or goshinjin show, but it was fun. And the picture they're showing now is another of those Forrest Gump. What am I doing? So there I am, with Norman Sensei, my sensei since I was 5,
Yeah.
playing kachashi, backing up Tomoko Urahara of Rinken Band, who was kind of that was the idol back when we were kids. They came to Hawaii, I think, maybe when I was around 7 or something, and they played at Blaisdell, and they came back later, around 2004, to play
Mhm.
at Les Murakami Stadium. But before all of that, Rinken
Yep.
Band was the international
Yep.
benchmark for Okinawan pop.
Yeah, if anybody doesn't recognize her,
Without
usually when she has her stage
It's
costume on,
huge
she has a big
costume that she
headpiece and full on makeup, but very beautiful woman. So you may not recognize her out off stage and without stage makeup, but amazing singer. So to have been able to play with her in an informal setting must have been something for you.
it was a "what am I doing here" moment.
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, let's
And you
see.
also played at Carnegie Hall.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'll talk about that after.
Okay.
Okay.
Because I'll call out some other people before that.
Oh, okay. All right. So you're gonna tell us about the next song that you're gonna play on your Sunshine.
Yeah. So it's actually John's fault, because I had planned only on playing koto today, but John was like, "Oh, you got to bring all your instruments. You got to play this." Then I was like, "Okay." So I brought my sanshin, and I'd like to play Ashimiji Bushi for a couple of reasons. For one, it was one of my grandma's favorite songs. As she got older and started losing her memory, and whenever I got the chance to see her, I would play this song for her.
Mm.
Another reason, it is August, yeah.
Mhm.
And nobody had their bon dances yet.
I
Yep.
know.
It's
I
a tough
know.
year.
That's why when you said it was the thing, it's just like we all miss bon dance this year.
And the meaning of the song, it takes us back to the plantations, that Issei time. And it's a song about work, but it's also a song about communal work and communal struggle and kind of getting by together. And it's something we all need to remember, especially these days as things get hard.
Yep.
If our Issei could do it, we can persevere and struggle through it and work a little bit, but get through it together.
Beautifully said. Beautifully said. Okay, so looking forward to Ashimiji Bushi. Okay, so we'll let them get set up. And just like he said, I think, yeah, that's a beautiful comment by Jamie Tengan. Thank you so much. It's such a relief to know we have people like Derek who are so talented and that our Okinawan heritage is in good hands. It makes me feel, as you can tell through our Yuntaku Live series, there is a large handful of people here who pretty seriously and in depth, have taken Okinawan culture and learned it as much as they could, and so I'm super proud of our people in our community. All right. Derek. So we have Ashimiji bushi.
足道を長ち働ちょど人の心にしさやよそのしよみよそのしよみよい朝さよそのしよみ初代よ初代働かな一日に群青やこ日に五冠たみてそこなよみかしことばかしことばよい朝さかしことば初代よ初代働かな朝よ働ちょてちみたて老人や若町の境年とともに年とともによい朝さ年とともに初代よ初代働かな
Thank you. Oh, that was. Oh, I think when as soon as you hear that song, I think it takes you to Bon Dance. And this year, we're gonna actually try and have a virtual Bon Dance on Saturday, September 5th, the evening when we would normally have the Bon Dance at the Okinawan Festival. So, thank you. But that's one of those songs, right? It just takes you right back. It takes you right back to. I remember a lot of our elders singing it during chinenkais and things like that, and it's a very Hawaii Okinawa community song. So thank you so much.
Boy, when he was playing that song, I just wanted to stand up and either hit the taiko or
I
start
know.
dancing. I mean, I did odaiko with young Okinawans during the time that he was playing with Norman and Eric, and yeah, brings back good memories as well as just that part of you that wants to get up and get out there. But yeah, this COVID really make everybody have a longing for a lot of that. And so again, Derek, a lot of what you're sharing with us tonight goes a long way for people to really kind of feel it and hear it. I mean, I think that's something that goes unsaid, but should be said.
Thank you.
So
True.
again, I know I was jumping the gun because I was so excited, and
No.
I actually didn't realize that we even have a video of Carnegie Hall. But before we get to that, I wanted you to explain a little bit about that.
Okay. So after college in 2008, I was very lucky to land a job right after that. I jumped right into the Kaimuki Middle School music department through the kind guidance of Suzunochi Onishi, who was my oboe teacher in high school. and Daniel Akimoto, who I'd been working with the school summers before that time, and so the timing just worked out when Daniel took his sabbatical to go back to Japan. I was able to take over as the orchestra teacher, and I've been so lucky to be at that school. It's a very supportive community, really great families, really great kids, and it's been so great to be able to teach music and do those things. And that kind of goes back to what I was talking about before about getting into the band geek and orc dork thing. When I was in high school, not to name names, but the Fusodyu guys,
Yeah.
when they were looking to have koto players, I would always be busy,
Mm.
and Sanda Sensei would always give me, "Hey, why you need that band stuff? Don't do that kind." And I ended up getting the last laugh because Masandu's kid, Kenton's kid, and just looking around the room, I get Jacob Higa, Brianne is over here, get the kids in Hoka, Eric's kids, Megan Higa from Nakachi. All this next generation of Okinawan kids were all band geeks and orc dorks.
Yeah.
So it's now kind of permeated into the culture. Is all these young performing artists that do Okinawan stuff also do band and orchestra. So anyways, after 2015, I guess, about 8 years after I started, we had the opportunity to take the band to play at Carnegie Hall.
Mm.
And the first, it was a high school festival, but we were the first middle school that passed the audition process to get in. So they were kind of blown away.
Wow.
And my boss or colleague, Susan Ochonishi, wanted to do something, that was very not standard, very Hawaii. So first and foremost, we played the Hawaii March. If you're younger but not super young, you'll know it as the KGMB9, one of the good things about Hawaii theme. But if you're older than that, it's the theme from the movie Hawaii. But we're talking like the 60s, 70s. So we played that. But there was also this piece of music that called for a koto. It's a band piece. And it's supposed to emulate Japanese music. It's a Tsunayama Japanese folk song. And, you have a koto player on staff, so why not use it? So they learned the song. We took it up to Carnegie Hall. And that in itself was an adventure. Traveling, with 80-something kids and their instruments is humbug. But trying to find a koto in New York City is also humbug. So
Who knew?
I was able to talk to Darren Miyashiro Sensei, one of his colleagues in New York City, had a koto we could borrow. And then we had to find a cab that was big enough to fit a koto inside.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
And then long story short, I played koto with the Kaimuki band on Carnegie Hall stage. And I know Fusodyu recently went and did the recital at Carnegie Hall. I know other people have gone through, but I not to brag, but I think a lot of times the koto recitals and the Japanese recitals, they happen in the smaller chamber hall. So I don't know really how many koto players and for sure how many Okinawan koto players have ever played on the big hall.
That's true. Very true.
So as I'm running through Manhattan calling the cab company, what on earth am I doing? That was one of those moments. But
they're
luckily,
saying, what do you want to put in my cab?
you want to fit a what? How big? What?
Yeah.
But we have the pictures, so it happened. And I'm just kind of lucky to have done that. And then so Kyler Murata, Masandu's son, was in that band as a 7th grader. The next year, I realized that he would be leaving us, and they would be leaving us as booster parents. So if you have friends and connections, use them. I asked Masandu Sensei and Shikako if they would do something with my orchestra. And so I arranged Tinsagun Hana and Mensode for them to play with us. And it was kind of rushed. Middle school is middle school, and it was kind of hectic. So really, because of the schedule, the two of them only practiced with my orchestra once for 17 minutes. And then we had the concert like 2 days later.
Wow.
And that's how it goes. And there were some rough patches. It was kind of hectic, and we just like Yuntaku, Okinawa problems. We had sound problems, so we started Tinsagu no Hana, and the mics were off, and it begins with Chikako's solo.
I know
And
the feeling.
it took a while for anyone to realize her mic wasn't on. She was so loud and clear that it took us a while to
Wow.
restart. So I have a little clip that I passed on to kind of share that, edited down for the good bits of it.
Oh my
Wow.
god, that was great.
Wait, did I miss that the first time? I mean,
Oh.
what was the impetus for playing those two songs with your orchestra band? Was that your idea?
Awesome.
Yeah, that was my idea because I knew, the sensei were gonna not be with our school after that year, so I had to use it. Tinsagu no Hana is, one of the recognizable Okinawan songs. A lot of people kind of knew about it because Karate Kid 2 and other stuff. So, and it's beautiful. It has a good message. It was easy to play. And then Mensore, because, I have Afusuri against Sekai. They got to play Mensore.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's why I kind of chose those two things. And I guess in terms of my mission of spreading Okinawan culture and mixing worlds,
Yeah.
I guess the coolest thing for me was the next year at the Okinawan Festival, Natsukawa Rimi came to perform. And all of my Kalani kids I see at the festival because they're volunteering with their Leo club, passing out water to everyone. I had a bunch of my kids just hanging out backstage, and she sang Tinsagu, and I was like, hey, didn't we play that? I know that song. And they can hum along. It's like, wow. So just my average kids got a little bit closer to Uchina culture through what I did.
I
I
love
was
that.
just going to say that before you
Well-
mentioned Rimi Natsukawa, that the takeaway I got from watching that film clip was that they're going to hear this music. Maybe they're going to go to an Okinawa festival or see something on TV and they're, hey, you know what? I
Nice.
played that song at Carnegie Hall. And, right, because, I mean, some of them, when they're in it and they're learning it, maybe they never really appreciated what they were doing and what you were trying to do. And then years later, they're going to go, I played that song at Carnegie Hall. And what a great accomplishment for you. Again, hats off to you.
Thank you, Derek. That was a perfect in my mind. For those of you who didn't know, Derek was the one conducting. He's the teacher of it all, and he brings together these two worlds. And I think it's just absolutely wonderful that such a great literal melding of two worlds that you live in. So, yes. Okay.
That one they didn't actually play at Carnegie Hall, but I'm sure
Oh,
they
no,
remember
yeah.
it. And that's kind of the theme of my talk is we do stuff as kids that we don't remember, but it kind of makes a difference later on.
You think about it later and you're like, wow, that was actually kind of amazing, right? Yeah. No, that's Kamuki Middle, right? That's
Yeah.
the Kamuki Middle School. Yeah. but that was just like, I know it's an awesome experience, I think. And like you said, you know, things that we may not realize are so amazing as kids. Hopefully, like Don said, years later they're gonna realize that that was an
But you're
amazing.
mixing cultures. I mean, and that's really what's uh, amazing. Experiencing as well as exposing the culture. So I think you and through your own experience, as you mentioned previously, you performed with a lot of different people.
Yeah.
And I think one of the photos you provided us with shows you, I think, also playing with uh, the late Ichiro Sensei.
Hmm.
Mm. Oh
That's
wow,
not
yeah,
the photo.
not
Oh,
this
that's
one,
not the
not
photo.
this one,
Okay.
but yeah.
But who's in this photo? I mean, it's a
Yeah,
recent one. They all have their
the next.
man. I know. I see Brandon.
Yeah, no. So that is a good segue. I don't think I had a picture with. I didn't provide a picture with Ichiro, but I have lots of pictures with Ichiro,
Mm.
and that was
Yeah.
kind of the most recent phase of my life. Um, from the end of high school to now, I started kind of doing more fusion things.
Mhm.
I did some fusion koto stuff with Darren Miyashiro. For the longest time, I played keyboard in Ichiro's group Urizun.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, and I guess this most recent trend is Yuttai Kwattai
All right.
with Brandon Ing.
Yep.
I mean,
Uh,
look at the collection of instruments in this photo. You have the ukulele, you have the guitar, and then the bongo, and you're back there with the sanshin.
Yeah, Brandon is really taking the lead in terms of bringing Okinawan culture, language,
The one.
and music to the forefront. And his songs, they're very singable. They teach you uchinaguchi. You can draw cute cartoons to them. He's really world famous. So it's been a real pleasure. He's a great musician, and I'm honored to be asked to be a part of this ragtag Uchina fusion group. We will be playing in the festival, virtual festival, so come check us out.
All right.
But yeah, I played sanshin and saxophone with this group.
Yeah, I
Sanshin and
wanted to get to that because looking over your profile, I mean, you've had a lot of sax.
John has been
I
waiting
mean,
all night to say
Thank you,
that.
John.
Right? John has been waiting all night.
a lot more sax than me. So I asked Derek to play on Yuntaku Live. I wanted people to hear him play the sax, and he's gonna play. You tell me what you're gonna play.
Yeah.
This was like a last minute ad because John just texted my phone to
John
hey,
requested.
you should play Asado Yunta on saxophone. Like, okay. Um, possibly not done before. Certainly not done before by me. So we'll see how this goes.
Oh, this is a world premiere.
World premiere, a Yuntaku Live first.
But yes, like as we said, John, but like as you can see, we wanted to get a sense of all the different Western instruments that Derek plays too, and that's what it's he orchestrate that whole melding of cultures, and so I think we're just really talented to not just have. He's not only well versed in his Okinawan roots, but he's also well respected and well versed in the orchestra and band. His orc dorks, band geeks, but they're ruling the world now. So hey,
I mean, he's a true. He takes the word ambassador, and
yeah,
makes it, fills that definition of Uchinanchu ambassador, and he
hmm
does it through his music, which I mean, I commend him for. Music is the message of peace. Music transcends languages and cultures, and tonight you get to see how he uses all the different instruments. So again, amazing.
all right. So let's see if he's ready with his.
Hang on, let me make a couple adjustments. So
But anyway, thanks for as he said he's going to be performing with a group they're calling Yuttai Kwattai, and it's like he said, Brandon Ing is and his gang. I like how he called it a ragtag group, but they're all really great musicians, and if I also believe they're going to be playing during the JASH's event, the Japan American Society of Hawaii's event this Thursday. But if you miss them, then you can definitely see them during our virtual Okinawan festival coming up September 4th, 5th, and 6th is when the shows will be. But we'll get a detailed schedule out. It's gonna be like Yuntaku. It may not be exact times, but we'll let everyone know the lineup coming soon. So, all right.
Okay, we are ready for the treat.
Yeah.
Treat of the night.
And that was awesome. World premiere. You heard it first live here on Yuntaku Live, Asadoya Yunta on the saxophone. Which one is that? Is that a tenor? Tenor or no? What is that? Alto? Alto saxophone?
Hey, again, I want to remind everybody, Yuntaku Live is truly live. There are no rehearsals over here. We're going crazy, having fun all the way. But again, man, Derek, I asked you, and I was really hoping you'd bring it and play for us, and you did. Big mahalo for that. And I think, again, hearing the different sounds tonight, probably the most diverse amount of music that types of music that we've had on Yuntaku Live.
Derek wins
all while promoting and really perpetuating the Uchina sound. So, and who better to do it than
Derek Fujio?
Derek.
I gotta
Derek
say,
Fujio, amazing job.
I totally had this image of you playing that on the side of the street in New York. So next time, gotta do that. All right.
Oh wait, Derek, do you have the hat on the bottom? We will all throw.
Exactly.
I wish.
Oh yeah, okay.
With the
again, we really want to thank you for coming out and taking the time to share your talents with everyone across Yuntaku Live's audience. You're reaching a lot of people, and I'm sure all the comments that are coming in. I saw some great comments pass through.
Cool.
But they're all impressed with your talent, and I know as humble as you are. Oh, look, Linda says you get the Guinness World Record. At least for Yuntaku Live, you definitely already have the record. But bringing that talent and sharing it with all of us, I can't tell you so much how much it means to me. And again, another very warm and sincere Ebiru for sharing your time with us tonight.
Thank you very much for having me. Debut.
Well, thank you so
Lynn,
much. Yeah, everyone.
It's setting us up really nicely for Virtual Okinawa Festival. I mean, these are the kinds of things that we're going to see during the festival in terms of individuals like Derek. And what can you say?
Lin Ing too. He was our second episode. When he's watching tonight too. I can see him. But wow, I just am so proud to showcase all of these individuals and groups that we have, and to really get to know them, get to know the person behind the performer. A lot of times, we only see Derek on his koto, but for us to know that he's just so multi-talented and is able to cross worlds like that is just it makes me so proud. All right. So thank you again to everyone for joining us for our Yuntaku Live.
Let's bring Derek back in so he can give Dio, Channel two Shaka as we sound sign off. But I want to share one quick story. We've gone. There's no overtime in Yuntaku Live.
That's the beauty of it.
Someone just mentioned to me that they were working out at the Y, and a woman that
Yeah.
said she's been watching Yuntaku Live, and she's so impacted by it. She gave a donation right then and there. She's handed it to Karen Takara. So she's watching tonight. I didn't catch your name, but a big mahalo to you for your donation, and of course to everyone. Again, we appreciate your donations. This is a tough year. It's going to be a tougher year next year for the Hawaii Night Okinawa Association. And as much as we're having a lot of fun with Yuntaku Live, most of it, again, with the sincere interest of bringing entertainment and education into your homes. Your donations are very much appreciated and very much needed. So again, a very big ipenihe debiru from me.
Thank you. So all of our fans out there, and we deeply appreciate all of your support. And we can keep our like Derek said, it's kind of up to us, right, at this point, to make sure that our culture kind of, we take it to the next level, and that we also share it with the next generation. So ippe ni he de biru.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.